And we are live. What's up, world? It's your boy, Andre Williams at Samurai Kennel. And today, I'm going to be interviewing my friend, Lisa. Lisa is going to help educate us on the differences between and the expectations of a service dog, an emotional support animal, and then she's going to tell us about her history with the American Pit Bull Terrier. Because even though emotional support animals and service animals can be of any variety and breed, you know that here on my channel, we typically like to enhance and bring light to the American Pit Bull Terrier. So without further ado, Lisa, the floor is yours.
Please forgive. Too many mind.
Too many mind?
Mind the school. Mind the people.
Let him go, Andre.
Mind the enemy. Too many mind.
Samurai.
Hello. I am so glad to be on this. Okay, so starting off with the service dog, because that's mainly what my dogs are for. They're service animal jobs for me. Okay, so the laws for those are the Americans with Disabilities Act. You really want to get to know that if you're considering having a service animal. You really got to get to know that law because that's 33 years old as of July 26th. And basically, the Americans with Disabilities Act says that service animals must have the right temperament. They're not allowed to be aggressive at all with anything. They cannot have any protection training like police dogs or whatever. They're not allowed to do any of that kind of thing at all. And they also, there's no registry or certification or any of that stuff that is legally recognized or accepted by the federal law. So anybody who's trying to sell things like that is a scammer. And so yeah, landlords are catching on to this too. So yeah, it's not a good idea to buy those things. It's just complete waste of money. And it can take 2 to 3 years to train these dogs for this job. And my older dog is 6 years old, getting ready to retire in a couple years. And then my younger one, she is just a year old in July. And so she's in training. Right now she knows 10 tests of 18 tests for me that help keep me out of the ER or the morgue. Worst case scenario is the morgue.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's really, really, really important when a service dog is out working, whether it's vested or not. There's no gear required. And it's best to ignore them unless the handler gives you permission to interact. And you should always ask. And if the handler says, no, they're working right now, it's best to ignore them completely. Just talk to the handler as if the dog's not there. So that the dog, if for some reason it senses something that's wrong with the handler, it can do its job. The thing I struggle with the most with training my own dogs for this job is a lot of people, they try to distract the dogs. They talk to them, they try to pet them or stuff like that. You don't want to do that kind of thing. Other than that, it's pretty easy to do in a way when you start off with all the basic obedience stuff, and then advanced obedience, and then you add in the tasks as the dog matures and stuff, and gets better at knowing what to do. Eventually, they get to where they're starting to read your mind almost, and it's like, oh yes, that's where you're trying to get, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And when it gets to that point, it takes a long time to get to that point sometimes. Let's see, my older dog, it took him until he was 5 years old to really totally get it. And it's like, oh my God.
Hey, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up. So when training a service animal and they're requiring to do tasks to help out, when do you start seeing the maturity level actually, like, you said he's about 5, but when did he start actually like clicking and like performing for you? Was it right at 5, or did you start noticing around 3, like maturity?
He started doing other tests and stuff as soon as he was like about 7 or 8 months old. But it's like full maturity didn't really hit for him anyway until he was like 5 years old. He was just slow blower, I guess you could say. But yeah, he's now getting ready to retire, so it's like, okay, that's weird in a way that it took that long, but it is what it is, I guess. My first dog was also an American Pit Bull Terrier. She's now passed away. She was also, well, she was a Craigslist ad rescue, as I call it, because I had seen her ad in the Craigslist. I was like, I just felt drawn to her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I might as well give her a chance, even though, you know, getting a rescue for this is really risky because you don't know their bloodlines, you don't know anything, really. But I was like, I might as well try it since my dad, I don't think, would allow me to get one from a breeder. So she worked for, well, let's see, about 2 years, and then passed away during mild seizures. And around May 2017, she started showing signs of, I'm no longer interested in doing this job. I don't feel well, things like that. So I was like, I've got to find another dog really quick. So I got on Facebook and I started searching, and I found my second one, the male I've got now. And he's from a breeder in Kentucky. And I was like, I'm going for him. And we made the arrangements and everything. And I drove to Kentucky by myself, and that was scary as heck. I don't like leaving my town at all. I'm no good as a navigator when I'm driving.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was terrified, but I was like, I've got to get over there because this one, she's acting like she doesn't want to do anything anymore and stuff. So he was 8 weeks old when I got him, and I started training him immediately, and she helped a lot with showing him what to do as well. She seemed to sense time was short, so she was really helping a lot with teaching him and everything when she could. And then she passed away November 2017, and I still miss her a lot, of course. But he has helped a lot too with training this one. Sort of like a mentor, kind of like translator, I guess you could say. So she's picked up a lot of things as well from him. So it's kind of rolling into the next one, you know what I mean? They kind of mentor each other.
Yes.
And it's made that a lot easier. She's picked up 10 tasks so fast. I mean, just within like 8 weeks till now she's a year, and will be a year and a month old this month, so she's learned a lot in such a short amount of time.
So I have sorry to interrupt you, Lisa, but I have a question that's burning now because so with a lot of working animals, specifically service animals or any other animals, what requirements are you noticing, or what kind of temperaments are you seeing that work the best for your service animals?
They definitely cannot have any kind of aggression, as I've said. So you have to be very, very, very careful with this breed because of their history and everything. They can tend to be dog and animal aggressive just because of the breed standard.
Yes.
So So I was very, very careful to choose from kennels that are really not going for that so much. And with the older dog, he's, oh my gosh, he thinks everything is a friend. And now that he's semi-retired, he's like constantly like, oh yay, I can finally get to greet everybody I see. But the younger one, she's struggling with that too. She's like, I want to greet, I want to be friends, but not allowed to right now. It would confuse her if she were to try to get that now. So until I'm sure she's really got everything rock solid and all that, I don't allow until they really show that they've figured out they can multitask, I guess you could say.
Yes, ma'am. Hey,
So
Lisa, so you're bringing things to light because, like I said, I aspire to be one day a somewhat halfway decent dog trainer, right? And one of the questions that is like burning me up right now is when proving a recall or getting a recall for a dog that's like an American Pit Bull Terrier with so much energy, how do you really how are you getting into that recall?
Oh my God, recall is fun. I make it a game. I'll have like a squeaky toy ball for them to play with, or some other squeaky toy, and I'll have like 3 or 4 of them, and I'll just play retrieve game with them as well at the same time. So I'll throw one of the toys, they go to run get it, and then I'll squeak another one to call them back to me, kind of help with luring them back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll keep tossing another one, and I'll keep trading and so on. That helps with recall training as well. It also gets them ready to learn how to do a retrieval task for me. But also, it just is a lot of fun. We make it a game.
Yes.
And then of course, I'll work on a long line with them otherwise too in various places. I'll put them on a 50-foot long leash that making sure the collar is secure enough that they can't slip out of it no matter what they do. And then we'll go to a field or something, and I'll just let them wander, and I'll call to them, and if they don't come, then I just tug on that leash and keep reeling them in a little bit at a time till they realize, oh, I'm supposed to go to the person that called me.
Yes.
You know? And then when they do get to me, I praise and I praise and I praise like crazy. So they realize, hey, it's a good thing to come back when called. And I just keep doing that every, like 2 or 3 times a week when they're first learning this. And then soon it's like they can be off leash anywhere, and I don't have to worry about them just taking off somewhere.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So one of the other topics we were going to talk about here, and these things get misconstrued and tied up all the time, are service animals and emotional support animals. Can you help be like just the clarifying factors between the two animals?
Okay. Well, ESA, the emotional support animal, they are a very different thing in that they don't require any special training beyond, like with dogs, basic obedience, and learning to use a litter box if it's a cat or other critter that uses a box, or going outside. That's about it. Basically, they're just pets. They're allowed into no pets or limited size, whatever range pet regulations for the landlord. However, if the property insurance company for the landlord says certain breeds are banned, then yeah, they have the right, even if it's a service animal, they have the right to say no to this breed. So you have to really check that when you're looking for a place to live and you have either an ESA or an SD. Make sure, I forgot to mention that, I'm sorry. but make sure that the landlord's property insurance will allow the breed. Otherwise, you'll have to find another place, and that I know is hard to do, especially with all the restrictions and everything else. So try Zillow.com or apartments.com when looking for a place. And you should be able to find something that way, hopefully.
Yes. Yes. Oh, sorry, Lisa.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sorry. But yeah, so ESA are very different in that they're basically just a pet. They're just given the doctor's permission, basically through like a prescription sheet of paper or something that says that this person is required to have this animal because of a disability, and they shouldn't be mentioning on the letter at all about anything with the breed or the person's disabilities, any of that stuff. It just simply says that it's in my professional opinion that this animal will help this person. You can, I guess, if you want to differentiate, mention if it's an ESA, but it's not required.
All right. Thank you.
I hope that makes sense.
It does. And so another question to elaborate upon that too, it is my understanding that for service dogs, as far as airfare, lodging with motels and things, they have a little bit more leverage than ESA would have, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. For flying, you have to fill out the doc form, and that's a new thing. That started in 2020, 2021 because of all the fakes.
Yes.
They have to be able to tuck in at your feet. They're not allowed to ride on the seat at all. They have to be at your feet in the little area right under where your feet can tuck in underneath the person in front of you, kind of.
Yes.
They have to be very quiet, house trained. They cannot be considered a threat at all. If they show any signs of being too nervous or whatever, they can be, denied in the cabin. They're sent to the cargo if they are too much of a problem. Service dogs in training are no longer allowed to fly in cabin. They must go in the cargo area. It's really quite a process anymore, and it's because of all the misrepresented pets and ESAs and stuff like that. ESAs are no longer allowed to fly in cabin either. They must go in the cargo hold of the plane as well. So, yeah, it's like, really, people, this is what it leads to if you keep misrepresenting your pets and stuff.
Exactly.
More of the disabled rights are taken away instead of helping the disabled at all. They've taken away our rights, and that's not right at all.
Thank you. Because I'm not gonna lie, like you're opening my eyes to things that I was unaware of, even with glancing at the Americans with Disabilities Act. This is very helpful.
And I'm glad to be able to talk about this with people because I'm hoping it'll help others who are, researching differences and stuff like that with these two working type of things with dogs and deciding what to do and stuff. My gosh, I'll send you the links and the chat thing on Facebook so you can post that in the description of this video if you want.
Yes, please. That would absolutely be helpful because there's nothing better than reading information for yourself. And because sometimes we're all human, and sometimes we just want to make sure we can get the best information out to the people because I've misunderstood and misinterpreted what it meant to be ESA and service dogs. So this has been. I'm just sitting here with my my mouth wide open, like, oh my goodness, I'm learning so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. yeah, it takes a lot to get this corrected. The information out there, so much misinformation out there, and it's like, oh my goodness, people, we're in the 21st century. We have all this access to the internet. It shouldn't be that hard, but it is for some reason sometimes. So, yeah, I try to do what I can to help other people with things. And this is amazing.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, so Lisa, I wanted to give you the floor to attack anything else you want to think about on service dogs or emotional support animals, but I kind of wanted to get into you now as a person as well.
Okay.
All right. So is there anything else you want to chime in on about those, or can I go ahead and start asking you some more personal things about just you and like yourself?
I am 37 years old,
Mhm.
and I am disabled, and that's why I have the service dog situation. I recently have been doing research on my genealogy of my family, and oh my gosh, I found out that on my dad's side of the family, I am related to John P. Colby.
Nice.
He's
Nice.
my first cousin, 6 times removed, through a grandparent that was 8 generations back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder I love this breed.
It's in your blood. Yeah.
It's literally in my blood, yes. My family, they don't know what to make of it. They're like, oh my gosh, what is it with you? You really love animals, but now you're American people tell you're crazy, you know. I've always been crazy about the breed, but now it's even more so, now that I know that.
Absolutely.
And then I've got a few of the books that many people can get on the breed. Some of them written by Kobe's family members, like Kobe's book of the APBT, Louis B. Kobe,
Yes.
and the one by his son Joseph, and a couple other books. And I'm like, my goodness, that was hard to save up for those because there were like $100-something on eBay or something like that. And somebody who's on SSI, that's really, really hard to save up for stuff like that. But I was like, I've got to get these because I want to know more about this breed. I'm tired of all the myths and the mislabeling and all that. So when I found those books, I was like, I'm going for them. I don't care. I'm going for them. And I found out that Richard F. Stratton, his book on the breed, the dog on the front of the blue book he's got that has the tan and white female dog with a boy.
Yes.
That's Riptide Belle, and she's actually in one of my older dogs' pedigree. So I was like, oh my gosh. So these books are really important to me now, given that they have a lot of his ancestors, well now both dogs' ancestors mentioned. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Knowing their ancestry as well is so awesome.
Nice. And you know what? It's very rare. And I've been trying to contact more ladies involved with the American Pit Bull Terrier because typically y'all tend to be just as researched, if not much more researched than some of the guys that I've met in the Pit Bull game. But what kind of things have you dealt with as far as like people in American Pit Bull Terriers in general getting involved with them and finding the right people?
Yeah, you want to make sure that you get the right kennels, especially if you're looking at trying to get a service dog. You want to make sure that they are not as likely to be dog aggressive or animal aggressive, especially not human aggressive. That's against breed standard, of course, the human aggression. But some people, I don't know why, but they're using them to train for protection stuff, and that I think is kind of crossing the line with the breed. But you want to make sure, where that's concerned, to be very careful and choosy which kennel you go with. But if you want something that's for like hog hunting or something like that, then pretty much anybody that does the preservation breeding, like Southern Triple J, who's on YouTube, or who else was that? There was somebody else I'm thinking of. Shoot. Tip of my tongue and it disappeared.
Do you know any of the dogs? Because I may be able to identify the person of the dog.
Yeah, I've been watching Southern Triple J a lot.
Okay.
And he has mentioned that his dogs are related to Jane's Turtle Buster.
Mm-hmm.
And my younger female dog that I've got now, she's actually related to that one as well. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting to find out that she's got a lot of hog hunter ancestors. But yeah, Norod, Mike Norod, I think he passed away not too long ago, a couple of years.
Yes.
He said something a while back on his page on Facebook. This was 3-4 years ago, I would guess. He said something about that his dogs were hog hunting dogs a lot. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, you know? So, yeah, it depends on what you want them for. And gotta really weigh pros and cons on everything. Watch what the parents are like. Get to know them. Go from there, you know? So, yeah.
And so I know you said you fell in love with the breed, and this breed typically is not. I've only seen very, very, very few used for service animals. What was your hard line of like, I'm going to use this breed no matter what for a service animal, regardless of the fact?
Okay, you're saying something about that if it's
so
a service.
So typically, I'll clarify the question. So typically when I see service animals, I'm used to seeing like a golden retriever or a lab or something like that with a vest on. Like, what? Yeah.
Okay. The law doesn't say it has to be a specific breed. But they do, however, say do not use wolf or coyote hybrids. That's the only limitation they put on things. Any breed, as long as it has the right temperament, is allowed as a service animal.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. So as far as your dogs, you mentioned some really, really like illustrious bloodlines in your dogs. Were you seeking that, or did you just happen to like do research in your pedigree and just find it?
I was kind of researching it as well as I kind of found it. As I've researched their online pedigree things. It's really awesome knowing who their ancestors were and stuff, because I've always had just rescues or adopted dogs before, and I would have no clue who they were related to. But these two, I'm like, I can trace their ancestry back as far as the 1870s with the Gas House dog, or also known as McDonald's grip. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And the more I get to know them, the better I'm like, you know, I just love this breed. I can't get enough of it now.
Like your enthusiasm about this breed, like it means a lot, because it's so honest, you know, it's so authentic. So man, that's an amazing thing. But there's also the other thing I wanted to ask you was, how did you get into training or training your own dogs? Like, what was your process?
Okay, about 28 years ago, I was living in Buffalo, New York at the time, and my neighbors had a Dalmatian, they had a Shih Tzu, they had a couple other breeds, and I started off with walking them up and down our street. I wasn't allowed crossing the street or anything. I was 9, 10 years old, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was like, I would go over next door and I'd be like, please, can I walk them? And they'd be like, sure. And I'd go up and down their street, just, have something to do, but also because I love dogs and my parents weren't allow anybody us to have anything. We were allowed fish, and that was it.
Yeah.
And fish are boring. So I was like, well, I suppose this will make do. And gradually it went into getting a little bit of training as well, because the dogs that I would walk, they would be like pulling on the leash, and I'd be like, oh, no, you don't. And so I would start adding a little training as well. And then we moved to Ohio in 1996, and I was like, I really just want to do whatever I can to get my own business going. And so basically I would be walking dogs, I'd be training dogs, I'd be pet grooming and pet sitting at people's houses, taking care of their house and their pets when they were on vacation. And I was 11 years old when we moved here. So I was like, from then until now, I've been doing this on and off as much as I can. And I'm like, I'd really rather get it so I'm doing this smoothly enough that I don't have to be on the SSI anymore. But it's kind of hard to do in this town. So, yeah, weird. But anyway.
No, it's...
And so when I moved back into my dad's house in 2014, he was like very reluctant to understand I was disabled. He still is. It's kind of hard to put. He basically puts me down for it. He doesn't believe I'm disabled because it's an invisible thing. I'm not blind. I'm not deaf. I can walk some still and so on. Yeah. And he's like, well, I don't understand. Why do you think you need? And I'm like, dude, I have CPTSD. I have a couple other things going on. And I don't mind explaining my disabilities. I've got this one that's called dysautonomia, where basically the brain doesn't talk to the rest of the body too well. And my heart will go speeding up to 280 beats per minute randomly throughout the day, even at night. When I'm dead asleep, it's like really scary when you wake up with feeling like you're going for a run suddenly or something.
Yeah.
And these two, they'll wake me up. They'll be like, hey, human, wake up because something's wrong.
Yeah.
And they'll help me with things. The older one, he knows to go get my painkillers when my headache's about to get going. And sometimes when I get my headaches, I can pass out for several hours. And I have no idea what to do because it's like I go into like a coma kind of thing.
Yeah.
What I've heard comas are like where the person is fully aware of what's going on around them, but they can't respond. It's really, really creepy situation. And so he will go get my painkillers and bring them to me. And the younger one, she's learning that from him. So, yeah, it's really something else. And then I've got this other one that's just, I don't know what it is, but I get like where I just want to, you know, fall apart. It's sort of like the CPTSD, but it's sort of like another thing entirely. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like I want to fall apart. I've been through so much abuse and stuff like that in my life. So I guess it is kind of tied to the CPTSD. The CPTSD is complex post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of years of ongoing abuse and stuff from multiple sources, not just one or two people. And I've suffered for all my life. People telling me, well, you're so stupid, you'll never make it with anything you do in your life, and things like that, you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know? I mean, I even had teachers tell me that in school, so I didn't have a very good life.
And see, that's terrible. But I want to say this personally from me and my little following the Shogun Army is thank you for your story and your strength. And thank you for having the courage to share it with us. I'll cherish this information, and it is sacred to me. Thank you.
You're welcome. And yeah, I just really love this breed. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't get enough of it. It's so fun.
Yes,
because not only do these guys do this job for me, but they are multi ability. I mean, my gosh, when they're off duty, they get to do like regular dog stuff. We do. I have them play with the spring pole or the flirt pole when I need them to burn off some energy, and saves mine.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of funny because my neighbors are like, "What the heck?" Because we just, you know, we're out there playing, and they're like, "But we thought that they're supposed to be on the job all the time." And I'm like, "Oh, if they were on all the time, they would burn out.
Yeah.
You can't do that to them."
Yeah, it's not realistic.
So it gives them a chance to just be normal dogs. And it's a lot of fun.
So
And
do you are you able to like or have you shown your dogs, or have you taken them out to like any like I know it's kind of difficult.
I would love to. I would love to go to a show sometime, but I'm not able to travel very far because I'm terrified when I leave town. I'm like, where do I go? I don't know where to go. I'm no good as a navigator when I'm driving.
Yeah.
But when I'm a passenger, I'm really good at navigating. So it's like really frustrating. I guess I can't multitask like that. I don't know. And then I keep seeing all these shows advertised in like Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I really would love to go, but nobody will stop by and, you know. It would be awesome if somebody would stop by sometime and be like, hey, let's just head on out there. I'm willing to take you, you know. But nobody ever does.
I completely understand. A lot of these and shout out to the ADBA, man. We got so I need to interject. So I just recently moved to Tucson, Arizona, and I went online and I was looking for like ADBA clubs near me, and there's supposed to be one in Mesa. So I emailed them, and I know exactly what you mean as far as like getting a hold of people and finding things to do. But I also understand like people's reluctance because the world is crazy. It's a crazy place. So I really hope that you get it to go to one. I've only attended one so far, but I plan on attending a couple more here in the near future.
Yeah. We do, however, do virtual dog shows with a virtual dog show fundraiser group on Facebook.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, that's fun because we don't have to worry about traveling anywhere. I just simply try to use my camera and try to get the right snack and gate photos and videos as possible. And the younger one, she earned a best of breed and best of breed, or whatever you call it, titles when she was 8 weeks old. And this most recent show, she was third place in group, a terrier, but still had best of breed. So I think still has her HV champion title.
Yeah.
I hope that this next show, which is in September with them, will be really good because she just finished a cycle, so her very first cycle. So hopefully her maturity will show and everything, and hopefully she'll regain the points she lost and regain that champion title, even maybe get grand champion. I don't know, but hopefully.
And so, man, Lisa, that's crazy. I didn't know they were doing virtual shows. I do a digital dog show. I don't know if it's similar or not because I wasn't aware of the virtual shows. But
yeah, it's just one group that I know of on Facebook, and I'll send the link in the chat thingy to.
Absolutely, because the ones that I throw, I can't compete in them. So I want to get more involved, and like that's something that would give me something to do. I think that's a man. Thank you for sharing it. I knew I took this interview for a reason, man. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's really something else. I'm like, my goodness, we really do need to help each other, especially in this situation with this breed. I mean, okay, getting into another subject here a little bit, but the animal rights people and stuff like that, they're trying to take away our rights to own animals entirely.
Yes. Yep.
And they keep doing all these raids on people and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh. We as the American Pit Bull Terrier owners, we really need to be on our toes, making sure that if there's any suspicious activity with anybody that's talking about trying to do a raid on one of us, we need to find a way to protect each other. Like right now, there's been a raid going on in North Carolina, and somebody on one of the groups I'm in on Facebook, he said, I'd sent my dogs to this person for breeding purposes only, and they've been stolen by this animal control group. And I'm like, oh no. And he's like, so what do we do? How do I get them back? And I'm like, unless you can get a really good lawyer, I don't see how you can.
Yeah.
And I sent him some links for the cavalry group and some other things. I'm not sure what they can do, but hopefully somebody can find a way to get those dogs back to him, especially. But my goodness, we have got to really be very careful with these people because they're sneaky. I mean, the PETA, HSUS, ASPCA, all of these guys, they are all in the same boat. They all want to take away our rights to own any animals entirely. And they go after us because they think we do things that are illegal and we don't. I mean, you know, there are some that probably do, but that, like any criminal, they want to hide that information. They want to hide that evidence as much as they can. And the people that are getting raided, they lie. They lie about them. The dogs that were in the photos of this situation, they don't look like they were in that situation at all, where they were being accused. This person was being accused of doing stuff that wasn't right. But the dogs, they didn't look anything like they've been in a situation like that.
Yes. Yes.
They're really, really great looking, clean coats, no scars whatsoever. And it's like, really?
But they will pitch that narrative for however they want to use it, and that there are people in this world who their joy or their purpose is to disrupt what they feel or they believe to be wrong. However, most of these people have never experienced the things they're protesting against.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really, really frustrating. And then I've got a friend who's um, moving right now. He just got word he has to move, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I've got to find homes for a few of my dogs." And I'm like, "Oh no," because he's one person you interviewed a little bit ago, the Outlaws Texas Kennels.
Yes.
He's like, "I've got to find homes for them," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, if I lived alone, I would be more than happy to take in those few or any number you needed, fostered until you got settled in a new place, and I'd return them to you, no problem at all. If I lived alone and could, do that, I would." And it just breaks my heart to see somebody have to uproot everything because they have to find another home for themselves as well,
Yes.
And I think that people in this community really need to step up and help each other as much as they can. I mean, yes, I know times are hard. I know the economy is hard, but we've got to do what we can to help each other. Anytime that they're struggling at all, we need to help them. Find a way to get them a fundraiser going, anything. You know what I mean?
Yes. And we're getting close to our 50-minute mark, but I want to elaborate upon that to finish out our interview.
Okay.
Sitting here talking to you right now, I'm seeing things from a different perspective, but it's the same goal, and it's to make sure everybody's taken care of. You've given me a lot to think about, and I just want to say thank you. Also, I would hope that this is not the last time we're going to interview, because with the amount of information, I can't get in a 50-minute interview all the information I want or all the information that you have to offer, because I've learned every time you speak, I've learned something. And I feel like it's just getting your voice out there. It needs to be heard by not just me. And that's exactly why I went to social media, and specifically YouTube. I like YouTube's format a little bit better than Facebook, but after hearing what you said about the Facebook groups, I guess I got to get more involved, because there's a lot of untapped great people in the world that I'm just kind of hiding away from.
Oh, wow. That makes me so happy to hear, because all my life I've been told, you're no influence to anybody. You're not important. You're not worth it. And so hearing this, it's, wow, that makes me feel so much better. Oh, wow. You have no idea.
Well, you should feel well, because everything good that has happened is because of the person that you are. And with that being said, I'm not going to hold up any more of your time. I'm going to give you your time for your parting remarks with everybody. And then if you will, when the interview is done and we stop recording, if you'll hang back, I would like to talk to you offline.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've said everything I can say right now for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, anybody who's interested in learning more about this breed or service dogs or ESA, feel free to see my channel on YouTube or friend me on Facebook. I can send the link on Facebook's thing for the description of the video too, if you want.
Yes.
Because my goodness, I'm happy to mentor people and stuff. My two are naturally reared dogs, and that's a whole other thing that we can get into maybe next time.
Yes.
And they are just, I'm hoping to start my own bloodline too eventually, but that's a whole other thing too. But yeah, definitely feel free to message me anywhere on Facebook. The links can be in the description of the video if you want, and that way you can reach me at any time. I'll do what I can to explain the laws in a more detailed thing like that, and help you whenever I can. Whoever it is that needs information or or whatever. So, yeah, I'm happy to do what I can.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So with that being said, I'm going to shut down the recording portion of this interview, but just stand by.
Okay.